Welcome back to episode 24 of On the Wild. I'm Riley Keenan. With me, as always, Anuj Basker.
Yeah.
I just got back from work. It's raining outside, so I was thinking about some random stuff while I was in the car. But do you ever get self-conscious when your windshield wipers are going faster than everybody else's?
Kind of. I do sometimes. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Like last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was like raining really hard where we are, and I was in that parking lot parked, and I was waiting for the rain to like settle down a little bit before I went.
Yeah.
And I had it on max, like mine were going like
Yeah.
whatever. And then I looked at the person beside me. They was going fast, but not constant like mine
Yeah.
were. I get what you mean.
Dude,
I look.
That was literally me today. It was pouring. I was like, oh, I got to get these things going. I even had the back one going too. And I'm just looking at the car next to me. It's got a nice little pace. And I'm like, he's definitely looking at me like, what a loser. Yeah. I don't know. Probably not. They probably don't care, but it's a self-conscious thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, another question I wanted to ask. What order do you get dressed in?
What do I put on first?
Yeah, like what do you put on first?
So when I get up, the way my room is set up, I get out of my bed and then where I have my socks are like right there.
Oh, so you're like at your bed?
I put my socks on.
You put your socks on first. I think I put my socks on last.
Well, I put my socks on before I even like get dressed.
That's true. I think if I'm like getting out of the shower, I'm going underwear, shorts or pants or whatever, then shirt, then socks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do socks last. Interesting. Dude, another question. I always see stuff like this. Like people get heated over this, just the most simple things that you do in your life. But I saw one, it was like, how do you cut your sandwich? Like if you had like a square like piece of bread.
Why are like people?
I don't know, man. Do you cut it in half? Or
if I were cutting it, I'd cut it like down the middle. Down the middle?
Dude, a lot of people were mad that people didn't choose diagonally. I go down the middle too. I feel like there's more room to chew. If that makes any sense.
It feels like a bigger sandwich.
Yeah. Like, and when I eat my sandwich, I go crust first. I eat around the outside, then I go to the middle because I want to save the best for last.
I go like let's say this is a sandwich. I go like one side,
yeah,
other side, and then middle.
Middle, and then so you're you're strategic with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I mean, if you eat it the other way, I don't really care. I
couldn't care less.
I found it pretty funny the way people some of the stuff people were saying.
People get like really mad over really small, like pineapple on pizza. People get mad. Like
if you want to put pineapple on your pizza, that's fine.
I do, and I don't care if you don't like it.
I think the only time you can get mad is if you're ordering pizza for a bunch of people.
Okay, yeah.
And you get pineapple on it. Then it's like you got to ask first, you know? Because someone can eat a pizza without pineapple, but the people that hate pineapple can't eat it with it, right? So you're ruining the experience for people. But yeah, if you want pineapple on your pizza, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
who cares?
Honestly, yeah, do your own thing. But now to sports news. Tampa Bay Lightning. Congratulations on winning back-to-back cups. You're the first team since the Penguins did it in 2016,
People
2017.
Are so salty.
Oh, they're mad, man.
I was on Bleacher Report and I saw a video of them like hoisting the Stanley Cup, and all the comments. $18 million over the cap.
$19 million over the cap. Yeah, like I get it, and I'm not happy about it. But I also don't look at it as like they cheated. I think they used the system that the NHL employed, and they used it to their advantage.
They didn't cheat.
Yeah,
it's not a rule that you can't do that.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was a little testy, not. I wouldn't call it scummy, but I mean it was obvious.
Unethical.
Yeah, unethical. Kucherov was good to go in maybe not March, but in April, early May. He was skating around in March, and he didn't play till May 15th, which just so happened to be the first game of the playoffs, so that they could trade for the guys they needed and sign whoever they needed. It was a little sus, and the fact that Kucherov ended up being the highest point getter in the whole playoffs too, that's a little weird. But listen, they had the best team in the league. It just goes to show, like Vasilevsky won the Conn Smythe best player in the playoffs. He was the best goalie, even though Carey Price put up a fight, 100%. But Vasilevsky second in goals against average, first in save percentage, first in shutouts. Hedman, he was up there in points and defense when he won it last year. So it just goes to show Kucherov leads the playoffs in points 2 years in a row, doesn't get the Conn Smythe. That just shows the depth that the team has.
Yeah.
And the amount of just pure superstars, honestly. They're already talking about next year the Golden Knights and the Avalanche being the favorites, which...
That was my pick going in. I said whoever's going to win that series was going to win the Stanley Cup, but... I don't understand why you wouldn't have Tampa Bay up there.
Yeah, I thought that exact same thing. I thought it was either it's going to be Tampa against whoever wins out of those two. Montreal surprised everybody. But yeah, I don't know how Tampa's not one of those three. Obviously, they got to get rid of the cap space that they have over now.
Yeah.
But they got some free agents. They got some guys that are probably going to leave. They can make a couple trades probably for some picks. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and Montreal too. Congratulations to you guys. Like all Montreal fans, do not hold your heads down. Like We did not expect you to get as far as you did, and you earned every...
Most people didn't even think they were going to make it past Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, that series was incredible. They really shouldn't have. They were up 3-1, but it is what it is. Listen, Carey Price balled out. You have 4 lines that can go. There's not one line on that team that you say, yeah, that's their top line. They have guys that can produce every single night. Some guys may take a couple games off, like a Josh Anderson, but then he'll be the hero, and just like in Game 4. I thought it was really cool that they got to win a game. Carey Price got to win a Stanley Cup final game. I don't know if they'll be back, at least with Price. I'm sure in the future they're going to have a really good team in the future with all the depth they have and used. But yeah, just congratulations to the Canadians. Obviously, congratulations to Tampa. They've had quite the year and a half.
Yeah, the Bucks. Yeah, them obviously going back to back. Rays made the World Series last year.
Toronto or the Raptors were playing in Tampa, so Tampa got to watch a bunch of basketball games.
Yep.
They've had a good year, and then they're going to have another one. The Bucks they got everybody back, so they'll probably be a team to reckon with.
They brought literally everybody back, all 22 starters.
And then the Rays, man, like they lose their best starter, they lose a couple players, and they're still at the top of the. They're still up there, man. They don't have like. It's crazy. You look at their lineup, and they don't have anybody hitting crazy good. But their pitching is incredible, and they're timely hitting. They're clutch. And they get plays. Oh my god, they get hits when they need to. They make plays when they need to. So that division, man, is nuts. Like the Jays have so much to fight through. Because even the Red Sox are doing the same thing. They weren't expected to be that good.
Surprisingly, I thought the Red Sox were going to be like buns.
And the Yankees came out kind of iffy, but now they're coming into their own again. The Jays have a tough road ahead. They're.
They started like 3 or 4-0.
Yeah,
and just fell off.
Yeah, I don't remember who they played, but it was like, how are they
winning? They
winning?
played the
Was that the Red Sox? Maybe.
I think the Red Sox started. I don't know. Whoever they played,
someone, but
they played somebody.
Yeah, they came out hot. I remember when they signed Matt Harvey. People were like, "Oh, the Orioles are going to be good." Matt Harvey is not who he used to be. He is not the Dark Knight anymore. He used to be a baller.
He was him. Syndergaard.
DeGrom is still in. I think DeGrom's the best player in baseball. As much as Ohtani is a dual threat and can do it all, to have an ERA under 1 as a starting pitcher on a team that isn't that great, I mean,
you can't really do anything. And even with the new rule where you can't have any substance, he's
still
and
balling. He's never used it. I remember they went over and stopped him to ask him, and he just started laughing. Like, you think I use that stuff? Do you think I need that?
But you've seen I was about to call him Jarrett Cole. You've seen Garrett Cole. His ERA is at like 6 since they implemented the rule.
Yeah, and Trevor Bauer he was joking around with it, and then he started to use it. He was balling out. He starts to use it because he's like, hey, if everybody else can use it, I will too. And then he started struggling. So it's a bit weird there. And then obviously he's getting
exposed now.
Yeah, he's had some legal trouble. He just got, I think, an extra 7 days leave from the league, just announced.
Yeah. We can't even. We can't really speak on that because it's a legal process. You have to let it kind of play out.
We really don't. There's a lot of that going on in sports right now. Obviously, Deshaun Watson too, but yeah. I don't know. But moving on, like the NBA Finals Game 1 just happened. What did you think about that game?
Milwaukee, just like in the regular season, they just don't know how to defend Phoenix.
Yeah.
Which is like no fault of their own. They just don't match up well with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really that simple. Chris Paul averages 27 against the Bucks in the 3 games they played this year, including the regular season. It's the most he averages against any team. Booker also averages 27, and Ayton averages 20 against them.
Yeah.
So their 3 best players play really well against Milwaukee. And for some reason, I don't know why, but it just seems like the Bucks in this postseason haven't played. They played better without Giannis. The rest of the team, which makes sense because they have more opportunity. But to me, it's like there's more expectation on the role players. So I would expect them to play worse than having a superstar. You
would think there's more pressure on now that when Giannis is out of the lineup. But I just look at it the same way I look at Toronto when Lowry was out of the lineup. When Lowry was out, guys like Powell, OG, they came more into their own and they were able to play better and produce more. Just because I think it comes with opportunity, like you said. You get more opportunity, you're going to feel more confident, you're going to shoot better. You're going to play better.
I guess you're playing more freely. You have really nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Because if you lose, it's, they didn't have Giannis. So I guess some pressure's taken off, but in the playoffs, it's kind of, I don't know.
And on the other side of things, like with Giannis in the lineup, you're thinking, okay, he's going to create a lot of space for everybody else. There's going to be so focused on him. But they're not going to get the ball as much because Giannis is playing and he's going to need his 20, 25 shots in a game. So the other guys won't get as much opportunity. But, I mean, you could tell Giannis was favoring the knee a bit. He's kind of easing himself in. He wasn't very aggressive. I don't know if it was... I think it was a confidence thing, honestly.
Game 2's tonight. He'll be a lot more confident because, It's injuries for pro athletes are a lot more. They're very like. It's more of a mental challenge a lot of the time than it is the physical challenge.
For sure.
So I'm sure Giannis feels fine physically, but it's just the mental thing. Like, can I
go?
Yeah.
Can I land on it like the way I did before?
And you see that a lot with like ACL injuries, like with football players like Odell coming up this season. It's going to be more of a mental challenge for him than it will be a physical challenge.
For sure. Yeah, and he did ease himself into that game. He started off all right, and then he kind of popped off for a little bit. But then once the third quarter came, he needed some rest. You could tell he wasn't 100%. But, I mean, he still had a good game. The Bucks were never really in it, but they weren't ever too far away. They were able to run a bit of a comeback at the end.
They cut it down to, like, I think 7 or 9 with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, 7. Like I think it was 6 or 7 they got. And I think the problem with the Bucks, too, is, first of all, free throws. That was the biggest thing. 16 more free throws 16 more free throws made by the Suns rather than the Bucks.
And the Suns took advantage of their attempts.
100%. Yeah. I mean
25 to 26.
Booker and Paul are two of the best at drawing fouls in the league, and they can hit the shots as well.
Right.
And their depth players have been able to hit free throws. For the Bucks, I think one of the problems I think they've always had is their perimeter shooting is great, but when it's not going, they're not adapting. And I think that's something with Budenholzer that's a bit of a problem.
That was my thing when they played Brooklyn. That Giannis would go get 3 straight layups, Holiday would get a couple layups, and Holiday would next possession would do a step back 3.
Yeah.
Like, do what's working. Like, I get you're a 3-point shooting team, and that's kind of how you got there. But if it's not working, you have to adjust.
Yeah. It was a huge problem back when they lost to the Raptors conference finals. It was massive last year when they lost to the Heat. You got to get to the lane. Giannis, you're one of, if not the best finishers in the league. You got to get to the rim. Obviously, we're going to give you a little time to come into your own after the injury. But everybody else, man, like, one move that Phoenix always does that's so successful, it's either Booker or Paul. They go into the key and they go across it. They either go for that little fadeaway or they dish it to Ayton for the alley or just a little bounce pass.
They do a high pick and roll, which is like normal. Like every team does it. But the way that they play it, usually the way teams would do it, like let's say we're playing like the Lakers. They do a pick and roll with LeBron and AD. They're either trying to set up a LeBron layup, an AD finish, or a 3-point shot.
Right.
The Suns will take the mid-range shot every single time.
All day, yeah. If it's open, they're going to take it.
And they have 2 of the top 5 best mid-range shooters in the NBA. Mm-hmm. So they're deadly in that because it's hard to defend too. Because
like a lot of the time you see PJ Tucker, he'll follow Paul, which will leave Ayton wide open. Yeah. But then in the back of their mind, they're like, oh wait, I got to get Ayton. You leave Paul open for the shot now.
Yeah, because if you go over the screen, then they have an open mid-range shot. But if you go under, they can just take the 3-point shot. Yeah, they can do that too. It's very hard to defend.
Yeah, and it's something that the Bucks should work into their offense. Obviously, Giannis, great finisher, he can draw the contact but he'll draw the other defender. That leaves Lopez, who can shoot threes and should shoot threes, but a lot of the time I think he needs to be in the paint a bit more to get those rebounds.
I think they should play him like when Giannis is on the bench so he can play inside.
Yeah, that would honestly work well because you need to open up the paint for Giannis to be able to drive.
Yeah.
But with that play, I think Giannis can do it. Middleton can definitely do it. I don't
think Giannis should be the ball handler.
He should be the guy at the rim.
Yeah, he should be. They should do a high pick and roll with Middleton and Giannis.
Yeah, I think if Giannis has the ball, you do it with Lopez. But if it's Middleton or Drew,
and you saw it at the end of the game, they played Giannis at the 5.
Yeah.
And it was working kind of well.
I think that could be their most successful thing. Playing Giannis at the 5, maybe have Portis at the 4, because Giannis can defend Ayton. Ayton is going to have a tougher time with Giannis, which is going to make him exude a lot more energy and have to play a lot better. So he'll be more focused on Giannis, which will kind of take him a little bit more out of the game. Even though Ayton, one of the most efficient players I've ever seen, kind of on the other hand of Booker, who has had a really good playoffs, but you look at some of those, like game 1.
He's not the most efficient player at times.
He was 1 for 8 for 3. He wasn't shooting too great, but he's able to hit his free throws. He hits the shots when he needs to. Mm-hmm. But Ayton, I'd like to see him get the ball a lot more because I feel like getting him the ball will draw a lot more attention and leave everybody else open because guys like Cameron Payne, Cameron Johnson off the bench have been great for them.
This Suns team is one of the most complete teams I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're unbelievably consistent.
They go 10 deep, and the 10th player is a quality player.
Yeah.
Like, in recent years, you've seen very top-heavy teams, whether it's the Lakers last year, the Warriors, the Cavs.
Even the Raptors, when they won, they had like 3 guys just off the bench.
Yeah, like you see a lot of teams that they shorten their rotation, but the Suns will play everybody.
Yeah,
and everybody contributes.
And they have trust in everybody as well. You see it like when watching the Lakers that first round, you could see that they didn't trust some of their bench guys. They get on the court, they're like, okay, like get off or just give me the ball. The Suns, it's like Cameron Payne can take over a game for them, and they allow it because he can. And the way their system works, listen, Monty has done incredible for the Suns.
Monty Williams is an amazing coach.
Yeah, going 8-0 in the bubble, they had a chip on their shoulders knowing that they didn't make it last year when they earned it in the bubble at least. So they come out flying this year, and to get a leader like Paul was huge for them.
They're a perfectly built team. They have the head of the snake, Chris Paul, superstar scorer in Devin Booker, great big man, and they have role players who can stretch the floor, which is perfect for today's NBA in the way it's very perimeter centric.
Yeah.
And they're deep. They have guys who can come off the bench and fill the role.
Yeah, and they don't have anybody that's going out of their way to make something happen. I always look to Kuzma as that kind of guy that does a little too much. But Drew Holiday's kind of that guy too. Like you said, he'll just pull up a random step back out of nowhere. And you're like, why are you doing that? The Suns aren't that kind of team. They're very balanced and they're very,
they're a team. No one's an individual.
Everyone knows their role on that team, and they're all just pushing for one. They want to win. They don't want anybody. They don't care who puts up 40 or who puts up 30. Everybody can score 10 points one game. They're happy.
Yeah.
And that's the way to go in the NBA. I just think the way the playoffs have worked out, obviously a lot of guys have been injured. Teams have been eliminated that you wanted to see go farther. But I couldn't be more happy with the finals, honestly. It's just two teams that were built the right way, that have trust, have loyalty. People were hating on Giannis for re-signing. So to see him in the finals now is awesome to see.
Yeah. It's a very fresh matchup.
Yeah, because so many people, even us, we were talking about Nets Lakers all year, two teams that were built off trades and signings.
Now, if I were to say which one I would rather see, I'd
Lakers Nets.
Yeah, Lakers Nets.
Yeah.
But this is a very fresh matchup
for sure.
And I've enjoyed these playoffs, regardless of the injuries, which have been unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate, but every game's been good. Guys have stepped up. It's been great to see. But yeah, looking at the finals and looking at the possible outcomes, whose legacy do you think would be affected more by winning a championship, Giannis or Paul?
Chris Paul, because I feel that's the one thing that's missing from his resume, and the one thing that people hold against him is that he doesn't have a title.
Yeah.
So if he gets a title, he's done everything, and he'll get a lot more respect from a lot of people who say he hasn't won one yet. And he's 36. He doesn't have that much time left.
Yeah.
Looking at his career,
this is the best situation he's ever had.
I think he'll get one more contract with Phoenix. I heard he's going to decline his player options, so maybe he'll sign a 2 or 3 year contract with Phoenix, finish it off there. And you never know if he'll ever get back here, so I think Chris Paul, his legacy is affected the most just because of how much time he has left. Giannis has 10 years left.
Yeah. I think when I initially thought about this question, I think Chris Paul is the answer at the end of the day. But as I thought about it more, I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Giannis because, yes, Chris Paul, by winning this, finishes that legacy of he did it. He won it. He's a for sure top 5 point guard of all time. But when I look at Giannis, he could be a potential top 5 player ever, or let alone top 10. He winning now, right? So he loses this finals. Chris Paul wins it. He's 0-1. That already is off to a bad start.
I don't like the narrative of you're 0-1.
Oh no, I don't either. I think the whole narrative comparing Jordan to LeBron, saying that LeBron lost in the finals is a bad thing. He made the finals. That's good.
It's better than losing in the second round.
Yeah, 100%. But for the greater scheme of things, I think Giannis all time is going to be looked at as a better player than Chris Paul, and he's going to be one that goes down and say this is maybe the greatest player we've ever seen all time. We really don't know. He's 26 years old. He's won 2 MVPs, most improved player, defensive player of the year, and now he's in his first finals. To win now is one thing, and I don't think right now it's better for his legacy, but as he progresses, this first win puts him into higher and higher company, whereas he can be looked at as one of the greatest players to ever play the game. If he wins multiple championships, this was the stepping stone, and he beat Chris Paul in the final. And he's still in a league where LeBron's still there. He beat KD to get there. He beat the team that made the finals the year before. I think there's just so much that adds up that can make it his side bigger. I don't at all disagree with the Chris Paul argument, but I think there is an argument for Giannis.
I get it with Giannis, but I feel like that's more of a media narrative legacy thing.
Yeah.
Where it's made up you have to win every single time.
But that's the same thing with Chris Paul. He needs to win a championship to be considered one of the greatest.
Yeah.
So it's tough. I think it all is a media. At the end of the day, it is the media looking at it. The casual fan doesn't care what your multiple accolades, who you beat specifically. They care about right now. But I think
I get the Giannis argument like completely, but I just feel like he has so much time left that I think he'll get one eventually.
Yeah, I think he'll win one no matter what. But I think starting now, if he can win one now, and then continue to win again, like that's going to mean way more for his legacy. Because you'll look at him like, wow, he won 3 or 4 titles, he won 3 MVPs. Mm-hmm. He's the 3rd greatest player ever, or something like, or 4th. I think it's going to be extremely tough to top Jabbar, LeBron, and Jordan. Those are top 3 definitively, in my opinion. But the guys like Magic and Bird and Shaq, like he can reach that company, and he is already like Shaq. He was the most dominant player. You can look at Giannis as that guy.
Yeah, of this generation.
This generation, absolutely. But yeah, Chris Paul, I think this is for his legacy right now. This would be massive. If he can win, you don't have any more buts.
Yeah.
Right. There's no more. Oh, he did this, but no, he won a title.
He's done everything.
And if he wins, I'm sure he'll be the Finals MVP. I think Booker may be the better player.
Yeah.
But CP3 is the leader. He's the guy that kind of deserves it.
He is the most valuable. He's the most important player.
Yeah, he's the most important player to that team. You don't have Paul. That's not the same team. Obviously, you don't have Booker. It's very different, but you still get a lot more out of Ayton with Paul than you ever did with Booker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good argument to have. I think it could go either way. I think you more so lead to the side of Chris Paul. It means more to him. But I really do like the argument for Giannis.
It makes a lot of sense. But I think just because of Chris Paul only has a couple of years left.
For sure.
This may be his last shot at winning a title. I think just for his legacy, a ring would just kind of be like the cherry on top.
For sure.
To end off today's episode, we're going to be starting off a series we're going to be doing over the next 8 weeks where we're going to be looking at one division a week in the NFL and just kind of breaking it down, who we think is going to win and who we think is going to be the MVP of the division.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to start off with the NFC South.
Yeah. So Buccaneers, the Saints, Panthers, and Falcons.
It's a pretty easy division in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, the Buccaneers are most likely going to run away with the division.
They got to unlock.
Yeah. I mean, they brought everybody back, which is the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
Brady is still going. I think you don't
still a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah, you don't say he can't do it anymore until you see that he can't do it. So, and I think the running back room is going to be a lot better now that Fournette's not injured and he's ready to go.
Ronald Jones
will be good too, and then Antonio Brown should be interesting the way he comes back. Same with Gronk.
Having a full season.
Yeah, him and Gronk both being back for a full year now.
Yeah, the defense should be better too. Devin White's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Even though he plays on Tampa Bay, he's probably one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Yeah. And looking at the rest of the division, I could see all the teams finishing second, and I can see all the teams finishing last.
100%. Like it's a weird point for each team too. Like Carolina, they got a new quarterback with Darnold. McCaffrey's going to be back now for good.
They're young. They're very, very young.
They got a nice receiver room with Anderson and Moore, and they drafted Marshall Jr., I believe.
Terrence Marshall at LSU. I like him.
Yeah, that was a good pick. And they got a solid defense. But when I look at the Saints, that's where the most interesting thing is for me. Because I think out of the 3 teams, aside from the Bucs, I think they're the best, maybe on paper. I mean, they won the division last year with Drew Brees. Now without Drew Brees, it's looking like it's either going to be Taysom Hill or Winston. I think they should roll with Winston. Personally.
Yeah.
He came into that divisional round. I don't know. Was it divisional round or I don't know.
It was against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he threw a touchdown. He looked good. I think he should have been the guy they rolled with the rest of those playoffs after that moment, but it didn't happen. I still think the Saints are a really good team. I think just their quarterback, is going to be the guy that has to lead them. And
they've lost a lot of pieces just because of their cap situation. They were like $90 million over the cap.
They were in trouble there.
Something dumb, but they've lost some pieces, but I think they'll still be decent. They'll be competitive. Same thing with Atlanta. I think as a fan, I think their peak is like 10-7.
Yeah.
If everything goes right, and their floor is like 6-11. If I were to guess, I feel like the Saints and the Falcons will be around 8-9, 9-8.
Yeah.
And Carolina will be around like 7-10, 6-11.
Yeah. I think if I had to put money on it, I'd have the Falcons and the Saints both at 500 or above 500 with the Panthers below, because I still don't feel like they have enough pieces defensively, first of all, but I also don't think Darnold's going to be the guy that can lead them. Yeah. Because obviously with the Jets, he was in a horrible situation. We really didn't get to see from him his true ability, and now I think we will, because he's going to have a lot of options in the field.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that guy, right? But
I've never been a big Darnold guy.
Even I just remember that draft, 2018 draft. I was sitting there praying they weren't picking Darnold. Yeah. I wanted Baker really bad. I would have taken Barkley too, but Chubb, they got him in the second round, so that was fine. But Yeah, I've never been a huge Darnold guy myself either. The Falcons are the one team to me that I think can be not necessarily the most surprising, but have a really good season and it not be a surprise. Because
I could see it because their biggest problem last year was red zone offense.
Yeah.
On the offensive side, the run game and red zone offense was their biggest, I guess, thing that they were bad at, obviously. And they brought in Arthur Smith, who is coming from Tennessee. He has the best red zone rate over the past 2 years that offensive coordinators have in the last 25 years, based off of statistics. So he'll be able to fix the red zone offense to a certain extent, I assume. And then the run game's tough because they got Mike Davis, but
from the Panthers as well.
Yeah, so he was decent last year, but I still don't really trust that running back room, to be honest.
I think that addition is really good, but I think they're gonna. I mean, they did. No, I'm thinking of Panthers. I was thinking about Chuba Hubbard, the Canadian. But I think Atlanta will need to get another guy, maybe around like a 1-2 kind of thing, because he was the second option for the Panthers. But when McCaffrey was out last year, he was a good running back, but he was never a guy that could take over the game or make a huge play to put them in a great situation.
They have this guy Kadri Ollison. He's like I think he's in his third year now. I think he's like 6'2", 230. Like he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of stuff. I've read a lot of stuff about like how Arthur Smith actually like really likes him. Oh. They got an undrafted guy out of Louisville, Javion Hawkins.
Yeah.
I think he averaged like 6 yards a carry in college. So he's
if you can relate that to the league, then
he was good in college. He's a smaller guy, so maybe that's why he went undrafted.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure, but I don't think the defense is going to be as bad as a lot of people say it will be.
Yeah.
Their new defensive coordinator has been a defensive coordinator for 10 years in total. And has had a top 10 defense 7 times.
Yeah.
Not saying Atlanta's going to be top 10. They're not. But I don't think
they're not going to be the bottom of the pack.
They won't be in like the bottom third, I don't think. I feel like they'll be around like 18.
And the Falcons had a lot of injury troubles too, right? Like it feels like, obviously you're watching every game, but when I watch the Falcons, it feels like I never see Deion Jones or Keanu Neal playing at the same time.
Well, Keanu Neal's gone now.
Well, yeah, true.
But Deion Jones, he's been like nicked, but over the past couple of years, he's been there. He hasn't been as good as he was in the 2017 season, where like he was going to be like one of the best linebackers in the NFL. But he's still good. I think he's still good. Obviously, you have Grady Jarrett, who's to me the next best thing to Aaron Donald and what they do for their defense.
Right.
Obviously, Aaron Donald's head and shoulders above Grady Jarrett, but
possibly the best player in the league.
Yeah, he's the best football player I've ever seen. But I think Grady Jarrett's really good. We'll see. I mean, it's tough because Atlanta's a very young team. Like, you take Matt Ryan out of it, their average age is like 23.
Yeah.
So they're very, very young.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and Pitts, too, is going to be one of the most intriguing things with that team. Because how he's going to work with Matt Ryan. Obviously, no more Julio Jones now, but Ridley's the number one guy. And he seems like he can handle it.
Do it.
He always did play better without Julio Jones in the lineup anyways. Yeah. So I think that team, like, they can be a playoff team, and I think they can make a run. Because Matt Ryan, he's got a lot of experience. He's a former MVP.
He's still good. He's not.
Yeah, he's still an above-average quarterback. Yeah. I'd take him over a lot of the guys in the league. His contract's pretty big, which sucks, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, you look at this division. I think it'll be an interesting race. I think obviously the Bucs will go away with it.
Yeah, I think the interesting part is 2-4.
Yeah, for sure.
The Bucs got it.
I think when we're looking at the most valuable player, though,
Brady.
I instinctively think Brady. But as a regular season guy, right? Like, I think when you get to the playoffs, it's Brady. And you can look at their defense as well, just like the Super Bowl. But I think it's Christian McCaffrey. Because he was the guy, he could have won Offensive Player of the Year 2 years ago, it was, I think. I remember
when he went for 2,000 yards.
Yeah. Can't remember who he lost it to. But, yeah, he was.
I don't remember.
He was in the MVP.
Was it Lamar? Did he win both?
Oh, yeah, I think he did win Offensive Player of the Year as well. Yeah, he lost it to Lamar. I think if you give Lamar the MVP, I think you just give McCaffrey Offensive Player of the Year.
Because then,
what's the point of the... Yeah, it's a little bit weird, but yeah, I think he can be the MVP of the division because he's on not both sides of the ball, but he's going to be running for you. He's going to get 20 plus carries a game, but he's also going to make 5 plus catches, and he's going to get yards off it. He can break a tackle like some of the best players in the league. So I think he'll be a guy that if he's healthy, the Panthers can be dangerous and they can rely on him a lot. But without him in the lineup, I just don't see the Panthers competing.
If Darnold can be good this year, I think next year the Panthers can be a really good team.
For sure. Because he'll have another year in the system. He'll understand it more. And I think it's already a step up from the Jets. Like, they were just so bad for so long, without a lot of help, without a lot of
They're starting to do it now for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
For Darnold, they did nothing.
Yeah, they didn't. There wasn't a lot of leadership. It felt like with the Jets, there wasn't a guy that could come in and just make people feel comfortable, make them feel like they could be a successful player in the league almost. Like
The Adam Gase effect. Basically.
Yeah, like the whole morale of that team was not there.
Adam Gase is a terrible coach.
Yeah, he did not do.
He had the biggest fall off I've ever seen.
Yeah.
He went from a head coach of an NFL team to I think he was an offensive coordinator for a high school team.
Yeah.
Not even the head coach,
yeah,
the offensive coordinator.
Offensive coordinator, yeah. That's tough. Wonder who the coaches of that team is. Maybe he'll.
I don't know.
Wonder if he could do a better job with the Jets. But we'll see.
I like what the Jets did.
Oh,
I like Saleh. I like Mike LaFleur, who they got for their offensive coordinator. And Joe Douglas, apparently, according to Jets fans, is a good GM. So
yeah. So we'll see.
If they're happy, I guess that's something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the Jets are one of the more interesting teams to look at this year. Zach Wilson, I think, is one of the guys. I'd put him in my top 3 of guys to watch this year because he was so highly praised. Not because I think he's going to be incredible, but because he was just so highly praised.
Yeah.
There are people comparing him to Mahomes, which is just not fair.
Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, like that's not a fair comparison to give to a guy. You give that to the guy who's going number 1 and has been talked about going number 1 forever, not a guy that goes 3, right?
Wait, see 1 second.
Oh, second. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, I think he's a guy to watch because I don't think he's going to be this groundbreaking player, but I don't by any means think he's going to be bad. I think he'll be a good fit for the Jets.
I think it all depends on what they put around him, which they're doing a good job so far. They drafted some offensive linemen. They got Elijah Moore, who apparently has been the best player in Jets training camp. I don't know why I know so much, or not training camp, OTAs. I don't know why I know so much about the Jets.
Oh, they got an interesting team. I mean, Elijah Moore, too, he dropped way farther than I thought he would in the draft.
Yeah, Michael Carter in the 4th. Why do I know so much about the Jets?
I don't know.
I swear, I don't know.
I thought Elijah Moore was going to go top 20. And then when he fell, I thought, oh, maybe the Browns can get him, or the Ravens will take him. They took Bateman, who I think will be great as well. But yeah, Elijah Moore, I think he'll be one of those guys that makes an instant impact for his team.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below, and we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.
Stay wild.
Peace.